Hello, we're Lab Group M8. Our topic is the advances in 3D printed structures and materials. Our group consists of myself, Justin Gregory,
Jeff Greenslade.
and I'm William Graham.
Now I'll talk about the history of 3D printing. Although 3D printing has only been heard of in the last several years, it is not as new as it may seem. 3D printing has been around since the 1980s when a Japanese doctor by the name of Kodama discovered the first additive layer-by-layer process. 3D printing has come a long way in the last 4 decades, from Kodama's efforts in layer-by-layer to cars being 3D printed in 2016. The 1980s. Although Dr. Kodama was granted the first attempts of 3D production, he was unable to file the required patents before the deadline he was sought to make. The first real breakthrough of 3D technology was successfully performed by Sir Charles Hull, who patented the first stereolithographic printer in 1986. A year after he had patented the stereolithographic printer, he released the SLA-1. He later founded the company of 3D Systems Corporation, which is a company that is still up and running to this day, located in South Carolina, United States. The company manufactures and sells a variety of 3D printers. Charles Hull is currently CTO and former president of the company. All in all, the 1980s were a pivotal time in 3D printing technology, and it was realized that the industry could only go up from here. The 1990s. The 1990s was a busy time in the 3D printing industry with the immersion of fused deposition modeling technique of 3D printing. This technique was founded by the founder of Strategies Limited, Scott Crump. Scott Crump founded the company of Strategies Limited, which is an office-based 3D system producer for rapid prototyping and digital manufacturing solutions. The company is still up and running to this day. The main take of the 1990s was the idea of fused deposition modeling, as it opened up a new world for the idea of 3D printing. The 2000s. The 2000s was a pivotal decade when it came to the idea of 3D printing. Some revolutionary discoveries were made in 3D printing as the first functioning kidney was made, as well as the first prosthetic limb. These limbs were printed as is without any need for further machining or labor requirements. 2009 was a very crucial year as well for 3D printing as FDM patents fell into the public domain. This was arguably the year that 3D printing had taken off. With the exposure to 3D printing to everyday people, the science was much more appreciated. All in all, the 2000s was a stepping stone in the right direction when it comes to 3D printing, and it could be noted that the science would only blossom from here. The 2010s. The 2010th decade was a very innovative time for the idea of 3D printing. By this time, the 3D printing industry was a common practice for many companies when it came to rapid prototyping new ideas and inventions. In the year 2010, the first 3D printed car was built using a 3D printer. The car's body was made using a very large 3D printer. Although this was not a realistic way to mass produce at this time, some analysts believe that this is the future of car manufacturing. Breakthroughs in medical departments were made again in the 2010th decade, as the first prosthetic jaw was printed and implanted on a patient. Likewise, Dr. Daniel Kelly announced in 2016 the ability to 3D print bones. Although these bones have not been transplanted to a human yet, this gives us a good idea of where 3D printing is headed for the future and how important it is to society. To wrap up the 2010s, it was a very innovative time for 3D printing as the significance of 3D printing continues to grow with new ideas and inventions being brought to the table every day. 3D printing is a very interesting technology and the sky's the limit.
So what exactly is a 3D printer? A 3D printer is a device that takes a CAD file, otherwise known as a computer-aided drawing, and slices it into individual 2D layers. It then takes these individual 2D layers and it extrudes the material, usually through an extruder head, using a computer-controlled XY plotter that moves the head around using step motors. After the set layer is printed, the head, or the bed, moves up or down to allow for the next layer to be printed. These steps are then repeated until the 3D model is produced. So what types of 3D printers are there today? Today there are 5 main types of 3D printers. These include fused deposition modeling, otherwise known as FDM, which prints using plastic materials through an extruder head. Digital light processing, otherwise known as DLP, which prints using a photosynthetic polymer that prints using a light source to harden the polymer. Electronic beam melting, otherwise known as EBM, which prints using an electronic beam that works its way through a powdered material to harden the material into a solid layer. Stereolithography, otherwise known as SLA, which again, like DLP, prints using a photosynthetic polymer that hardens when a laser is shot on it, and selective laser scintillate, otherwise known as SLS, which, like EPN, prints using a laser that moves around a powdered material to form a solid part. So what are the applications of 3D printers today? 3D printers are generally used in rapid prototyping of new products, as it is very easy to make complex parts in very little time using 3D printers. 3D printers are also used to produce many small-scale parts that can't be mass-produced, such as minifigures, sculptures, and other custom accessories. 3D printers are also used in the commercial market, as many regular people are now finding ways to get a hold of a 3D printer, as the price for a 3D printer is generally going down as the technology improves. Although 3D printers are useful in many applications of industry, they also have their limitations, such as the material that 3D printers can use is very limited based around the processes that they use. 3D printers also have limitations based around bed size, as the size of the bed can limit the part that can be produced by said 3D printer. 3D printers also have the limitation of requiring dissolvable support material that needs to be removed once the part is done printing. This causes more time put into the part and cuts down the uses of it in industry.
So, looking at 3D printing in the next 5 to 10 years, 3D printing is a growing field. The technology has advanced recently and is going to continue to advance. 3D printers are becoming and will continue to become faster. New materials are becoming available, such as metal, and even the ability to print electronics is becoming a reality. And as a result, its practical applications are growing. It's likely to have a massive impact during the next decade in various aspects of society, primarily in industrial manufacturing and also in housing. For manufacturing, 3D printers have a number of innate advantages over traditional manufacturing methods. Its largest drawbacks are slow speed and limits to valid printing materials. However, as technology advances, speeds have been getting faster and will continue to increase. And some metals now can be printed that previously could not be printed. As time goes on, material options are guaranteed to widen in the coming years. And as this happens, 3D printing is likely to become a larger part of industrial manufacturing, as its benefits are no longer held back by its flaws. Less attention is commonly given to the potential impact 3D printing has to make on the housing industry. APISCOR made the walls of a 400 square foot home on site in 24 hours in Russia using a 3D printer. Now, this is proof of concept of a cheaper and faster way to build residences, which can be a great benefit both as economic housing in developed countries and housing in the developing world for quick homes. In conclusion, 3D printing is significant in our modern world and provides benefits over previously existing alternatives for a number of roles. This technology can only advance from its current state and possesses a great potential moving forward to impact industry and change how we produce a wide range of things.